What's the matter, Kakarot?
Good morning and welcome to another Sunday service with the Blerd Church of Anime. Woo! I'm not even doing all that. Yeah, we are back. I have to say, February is going so fast. I've been so busy. I've been doing a lot, y'all. Doing a lot. But I'm here for you. We're not talking about me. We're going to talk about anime, comic books, all the stuff. I also definitely want to do another shout out that we will be at BlerdCon again this year. If you don't know about BlerdCon, BlerdCon is one of the premier Black owned and operated anime conventions happening March 6th to the 8th in Crystal City, Virginia, aka Washington, D.C., at the Crystal City Hyatt. So be there, be square. I've been doing panels as the Blerd Church of Anime, but kind of like the Sunday morning services. I think for most of the years of BlerdCon, not every year. In the first couple of years I didn't do it, then I started. And so we'll be there for our first testimony service where you can come out and share your own reflections, aka testimonies of an anime, manga, video game, comic book story, character, plotline, whatever that has inspired you. We want to hear from you. So hopefully I'll see you there. It's running that Sunday, March 8th. I'm going to put the flyer up again so you can see it. But we hope you will come and be in live community with us for this live broadcast. All right. All of that aside, how was your week this week? I have been trying to catch up on sleep like nobody's business, and I don't think I'm going to get my sleep until mid-March. I'm going to be very honest. Like your girl out here just doing the most. It is what it is. But I'm doing a lot of good things, so it's exciting. I hope that you are getting sleep. I hope that you are not here hustling yourself to an early grave. Ain't no money worth that. I hope that you are being surrounded by loved ones, especially since last week we had Valentine's Day. I'm a Galentine's Day type of person. I like to hang out with friends, the romantic piece of it. Although, we always love a good V-Day shoujo episode, the comedy that ensues when the prince gets all the candy flowing out of his locker, which I'm going to spend that to our message for today. But if you didn't have a good week last week, as we often say around here, F last week, we believe that this week will be better for you. Things can't always be going down. Sometimes we get a little bump, things go up. Even in the world of politics, there are always some wins, even when we feel like we always losing. It is what it is. So, yeah. As I mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about romance. Ooh. I'm gonna be very honest. I am not a rom-com person. I don't like watching romantic movies or reading romantic books, especially growing up. And then when I became an adult, a lot of people are like, especially like female friends, femme friends, like, why don't you like don't let the Notebook? You don't cry over these Nicholas Sparks. I'm like, nah, it's not for me. And I used to always give them the excuse that I get all my romance that I need, all my drama from shoujo. Now that's all I wanted was my shoujo, was all the romance I needed. I love ridiculous shoujo where everybody got family trauma, where there's like secret twins and all the stuff. Like that's what I need. Um, and as I've gotten older, I've kind of pulled back. Like I do love I think for me, romance is very interesting. So a lot of people put so much stock into having like your designated perfect person. And for me, relationships are super important, but I don't think romantic relationship is more important than friendships and so on and so forth. But I still scratch that itch with some romantic anime, whether it be shoujo or not, because I realize all romantic anime isn't exactly shoujo or BL. But I'm just saying. Um, and there's this particular trope that I love in some romance anime. And that trope is when kind of like when you have this mismatched couples, because it's always great when you have couples that are like, oh, queen of the school, king of the school, prince or princess of the school, these two people, they're perfect for each other. Yay, love that. Especially high school, because a lot of romances are always high school. It is what it is. I watch a lot of high school romances when it comes to anime. But I love it when it's a mismatch pair, when people are like, I don't see how those people got together. And it's always from the perspective of the person who everyone's like, oh, you bad that cool, but that person's like, I can't believe this person likes me. They're so handsome, they're so pretty, they are like so good, they are the queen, they're the prince of the school, blah 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 blah, I'm a nobody. And then they get to the relationship and they get to know the person, and the other person is that perfect. Like, wow, they're not perfect. Who would have thought? No, seriously. It's a whole thing where I love when they start finding the imperfections of the person they've held to this high standard. And I don't know, it's not like a major plot point in some animes, but it's such a really cool thing that keeps me coming back for some of these. I mean, I'm gonna have to shout out like one of my favorite like romance animes, Horimiya, because not only do we get one love story, we get multiple love stories of people who seem like they should be together, or even those like, I can't, like Hori and Mia, like, ooh, that was a unknown pair. We didn't see that coming. And then we get to learn more about Hori. You're like, oh, this chick is weird. Love it. And you know what? I will say the manga slash anime, mostly manga, that got me started on this path was Kare Kano. Kare Kano, it might have been, no, it wasn't my first shoujo. It was not my first shoujo. But it was definitely the shoujo where you had two people who seemed like on paper perfect for each other. And they were. But they all both seemed really perfect. And all of Kare Kano is showing you how they're not perfect. And them realizing that about each other. Like from Yukino's perspective, when Soichiro is all like, "I love you," and she's like, "I want," because she's like this selfish, vain, pretending to be this perfect person. This is all in the first chapter, so like I'm not spoiling much. But she's like putting on this face to be this mature person, top of the class. She deep down is vain, super competitive, a slob at home. And for Soichiro, who's also like the prince of the school, the only person in school that like beats out her scores, the other guy who's considered to be perfect, it's like, I love you, I want to date you. And she's like, I beat him at something, I win. And then he finds out that's all, it's all a mask. And you watch a relationship build from that. Like, you think that is the core of Kare Kano, and it is, because you see a lot of Yukino um, really coming to accept herself and coming to accept, that, like, I don't have to, be this perfect person. I don't have to put on this mask, although sometimes it's easier for me to do the mask. But what makes her feeling strong enough to be herself is the relationship with Shochiro. And then much harder, and which is hard to get to, this is a little bit of a spoiler, especially for folk who've only seen the anime, is when you get to Sochiro's arc and you realize that perfection mask is literally trying to save his life in a lot of ways. And Yukino coming to grips about who he really is and the darkness that's in him. And I've always loved it. I love, love, love people in relationships realizing the person that they love isn't the person they think they are. Because that's so true of us. I think when you go on your first date, when you're meeting somebody for the first time, you meet the representatives. You send out your representative, your best face forward, because why wouldn't you unless you're actively trying to not get to know the person, the other person that is. And it takes a while, and it's actually very scary for people to drop down their guard and show even inklings of themselves that is not the representative, the perfect person, or being what you think that person wants you to be or have known you to be. Whether that's in your appearance, I think for a lot of film body people, it's so hard to do that first time you hang out without. If you're like used to looking glam and putting on makeup, it's really hard to do the first time y'all hang out when you're not, blend up with all your makeup, or you're looking a little bummy in your sweats or whatever. For guys, it may be like you have to be put together, but it's kind of scary. They let her come over to your house and it's like junky. It is disgusting. Um, I think that's whether you are hetero or homo, whatever. I think whatever time you are with people, it's always kind of scary to like let down your guard and let people see your imperfections, especially if it's somebody you really, really like, someone you really see you want to build a relationship with and care for long term. And I think I take a lot of solace in animes that deal with this, especially in comedic ways. Like Kare Kano is super dramatic and a super a lot of trauma on the Soichiro end, and he would not have survived if he didn't have Yukino in his corner. Being able to be like, you've been lying to me this whole time, and trying to understand a lot of the darkness that he's been dealing with. Again, I don't think women or anybody should be someone your love partner's therapist or their punching bag while you're going through stuff. Like that is on the side here. But like I can totally get why he's kind of able to become a better person and to deal with his fakeness when there was somebody secure enough to be like, I will love you if you will be real with me. In a more comedic sense, there is my love story. With this dude, he is not typically your shoujo hero. He is not good looking. He is giant. He is scary looking for a lot of girls. But his best friend um, is the typical shoujo hero. He's good looking, athletic, all that kind of stuff. It is super funny. Um, and I love my love story because it is such it's a wild ride. Because the guy, the main character, Goda. Goda, okay, I remember he is just like this giant kind of goofball. He's like a man's man. In high school, just like a really big guy. All of the other guys look up to him. He does sports more like in the wrestling kind of area, but he's best friends with the really cute guy Makoto, and Makoto had every girl that he's ever liked, every girl that Goda has ever liked, ends up liking his best friend because he's charming, has good looks, all that stuff. Um, and so he gets to the point of where anytime there's a girl coming around him or being nice to him, he just automatically tries it up too. She's gonna go to Makoto. It is what it is. And this changes when he saves this really, really shy, pretty girl from this like upscale school, Rinko. She's like so kind to him, and he's just waiting for Rinko to be like, "Oh, can you give me the number to Makoto?" But he's such a really cool guy, and I think what I love about Rinko is that she really likes Goda. And first off, it's her convincing Goda that she's in love with him, and then Rinko, after they finally like are together and all this stuff, she also struggles with this identity of this nice girl where Goda is trying really, really hard. It's his first girlfriend. They've confessed their love to each other. And he's trying to be very proper around her. He's trying to not scare her away. Like it's he doesn't know what to do. And Rinko is holding back a lot because she's not as nice a girl as this guy thinks she is. And she struggles with trying to tell him that like she really kind of wants to be a little naughty with him. Ooh. But she's also super worried that if she does that, he would be disgusted by her because she is this small little supposed to be dainty, nice girl. Um, and I kind of really love that interaction where he's like, no, no, I'm gonna scare her away. And she's like, no, no, I'm gonna scare him away. And it's like, oh my God, just talk to each other. Because there's an idea of that, like Gato having this girl, he puts her on this pedestal. He says she's just like this type of person. And then she is so scared to show her flaws. And it's not even really a flaw. It's just like she's so sorry to be somebody who he thinks that she's not. When she's just like any normal girl who finds their first crush and, kind of wants to bask in that a little bit. I really love this anime. I mean, again, a little bit of a spoiler, but like my love story kind of tells you they're going to end up together. It's really fun to watch how they like get all together. It is. And I do think Wrinkle's a really interesting character where, as an adult, I'm watching her being like, I want him to hold my hand. I want to have a kiss. I want to do these things. And I don't know if I should because he's going to think I'm disgusting. And I do think we do that to ourselves sometimes. Like, we try not to be who we really are. Or, like, let me back up. It's not like who we really are. I think there's multitudes to every person. That's the first thing to do when you're getting into a relationship, whether it's romantic, friendship, familiar, whatever. There are multitudes to every single person. We are not one dimensional. We're not even two dimensional. We're not one or two things. We don't play up to these stereotypes and these boxes that all of media tries to put. Okay, you were the jock. Okay, you were the smart kid, especially in the high school setting, which is a lot of these love stories happen. You're this, that, and the other. There is so much more about you. Okay, you're the anime geek. All right. But like that doesn't mean there isn't a lot more around who you are and what you like and how you feel and what you believe. Because there is so much multitudes in like the lives that we live, that the people that we meet, the things that we're into, the things that we get exposed to. I get it. Like sometimes us as nerds, we can get into our little nerd huddle and we can say like, oh, we all like the same thing. We all do the same thing. And you want to stay in the in group. And so you're constantly trying to like be what the in group, that little box of it is supposed to want you to be. I get that. But even within the in group, even within the boxes, there are still things that we are interested outside of it. And I have to shout that out because I say that with like seeing how the nerd community responded to Megan Stallion. Like it hurt my heart, and I was pissed that so many people will come out and be like, Meg can't be a real anime fan. She's only doing this for clout. She's just trying to get those nerd, especially those nerd male, to like her or whatever. She don't know nothing about My Hero Academia. She don't know nothing about these people she cosplaying because you see a pretty girl who's a rapper and confident, and you're like, that is not the standard nerd. And I'm like, okay, but it could be, or all of us nerds have this like different way of being and different things we're interested. Okay, y'all, you could be an anime nerd, but you could be a hip hop head too. You could be a sneaker aficionado and be really into fishing. Like there's no rhyme or reason sometimes to like the things that we like and the things we gravitate to, except exposure. And I think if you're already a nerd about one thing, you're a geek about another thing, it makes it so much easier to geek about all these other stuff. Again, I always call out that like I am a fan of fandoms. I think fandoms are wonderful. And while I'll appreciate when I understand a fandom, when it's something that I like, I try really, really hard to not downplay other people's fandoms. And when I say fandoms, I'm not just talking about from the anime or the manga or the comic book experience. I'm talking about whether you're alt music, emo, whether you're into sports, because sports is a fandom. And I don't care if it's basketball versus football versus hockey versus the Winter Olympics and people who are really into curling. Like you don't know what there's so many things that are so coded to us, especially folk who get into a fandom to all of a sudden fall into another fandom, right? So you're gonna tell the jock like, okay, the jock can't be an anime fan, which there's tons of animes talking about that too. But there's all these multitudes to ourselves. And sometimes when we think that we show one set of ourselves, so maybe I've always been the emo person at school. They see me through the veneer of my hats, my eyeliners, whatnot. I scream emo. Or maybe I've always just been the job. They see me in the sports. That's the thing I want to present as myself. Or outside of school, because some of us are adults here, maybe to my friend group, I've always been the person who loved high-end fashion. I always look good. I smell good. Maybe when I present myself to my friends, I'm just this really cool, laid-back person. Like nothing ruffles my feathers. I'm above it all. Like I like indie stuff. Okay, that is a piece of you. That is not all there is to you. So when you're getting in a relationship with other people, again, romantic or friendship doesn't matter. There is a space where people are allowed to rediscover and discover you over and over again in things that you love. It makes you interesting. And I know in some friendships, especially if you're like, okay, all my friends are into this one particular thing. We met because we're all in this bowling club. Bowling is the thing we talked about, the thing that we have in common. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. And maybe you just want your friends to be your bowling friends. That's all y'all do. You don't want to have a deep relationship with them either. That's fine. I think there's some friends that you do for activities and some things you like that you don't want to be further engaged in. There's some fandoms I'm into where I can't dig into the backgrounds of these people because I know I would hate them. Politically leaning and some other stuff, we not there, you know? Although, so I keep them at arm length, that's completely fair. But if I'm trying to be in relation with other people, there's a part where folks have to discover things about me and I discover things about them and find out where pieces that still fit and pieces that may not fit. And that's okay. Because I think that people think that you have to have, especially when it comes romantic, you have to have that perfect person. That they fit in your life in the way you need them to fit versus you discovering and you expanding to encompass them. And I think I find that a lot more in the story of Horimiya. Again, I mentioned this is like probably my updated version of Kare Kano with less of the trauma. I love Horimiya because I think, again, like um you don't just get one story. You get multiple love stories all together and that's always fun. Like I love to be able to do it. The full name of the anime is the manga is Hori-san to Miyamura-kun. Hori-san is the girl, Miyamura is the guy, and Hori is she's not like the queen of the school or anything of that nature. She's not that high up, but she is like very well regarded in her class. She is popular, she's pretty, she wears makeup, whatever. And then she doesn't hang out because she's always going home to look after her little brother. So she's super responsible. And so she's not faking it the same way that Yukino does in Kare Kano. But one day her brother comes home, her little brother, like elementary, like preschool age, and he like, comes home with this guy who has like earrings all up in his ears and everything. And she's like, thank you for bringing him home. And he's like, no problem, Hori. And she's like, do I know you? He's like, oh, I'm Miyamura from your class. And she's like, what? Because Miyamura always let this like really, um, they would call him otaku without ever knowing any of his interests. He had on glasses, his hair was longish, it was covering his ears because of the piercings. He was very gloomy. He didn't talk to anybody. Like he's kind of forgettable. And she's like, you don't look like the Miyamura in my class. Like, are you serious? And then they just develop a friendship because they just kind of are shocked. Like, her being home, she's dressed down, she's looking at her brother, him being not in school, the earrings are in and his hair is pulled back, he's not wearing the glasses. And she's like, this is a different side of you. And it makes for a really interesting love story of them coming together. And Miyamura has his own like confidence issues. And so, he's very down on himself about such a popular girl liking him when like there's so many other guys who would try to get on her and even trying to make friends with other people at school. And he's worried that he's ruining her reputation, right? But then he gets to know Hori, and Hori is such a weirdo. I love her. Like she loves horror movies, which Mira cannot deal with. He's such a scaredy cat, but she forces him to watch horror movies with her. She has this weird thing where when she starts saying baka, she can't stop. Like she's just like baka, 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 baka. Like it's like a tick kind of in some ways. Um, she kind of likes to be dominated. Mira's like, I this is not the person I thought I was dating. And but I love that they find out these little things about each other and they're so worried about what the other person who they like would see them or would be disgusted or be embarrassed by them, and it doesn't happen. Like they learn to adjust and to cover each other. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about a romantic relationship, if we're going to have one, where as more pieces of yourself, as you share more, as you learn your preferences, as you learn the things you like and you don't like, as you move through this world, you move through all this whole thing, that the person you're like, I really like and who really likes me back and who I'm in this type of relationship with are willing to make space and be like, I like this other side of you. Or maybe I don't quite get this side of you, but I find it interesting and want to learn more. And that's on both sides. Like, it's not just Hori being weird. It's also Miyamura, where she's like, he's like this very frail and delicate type of like, very used to been bullied. So, someone with this inferior complex because of the bullying, but she sees him around some of his middle school friends. And she's like, I don't see this version of you often, and I kind of like it. I think everybody needs that. And sometimes I think it's really interesting that a romantic partner can be that for you, where you maybe not do that with your friends. Because I think another aspect, this is a little bit of a spoiler, of Hori is that Hori apparently used to be a bully. She used to bully the student council president before he became student council president. Is Hori's childhood friend, and he sees with this perfect prince idol. Like he is the prince of the school, and he uses Hori to do like extra work because he's holding it over her head that she was just like, this terrible, mean childhood bully for him. And I also like his story because he's actually very weak and feral. He's worried about people thinking he looks like a girl and all this kind of stuff. And he does have a girlfriend, Remy, who is this beautiful girl. And like people are like, oh, that makes sense. Those two are together. And she's a little bit of an airhead, but she's actually very kind and like very perceptive to people in general. But she can figure out when people like each other, and she can kind of stir the pot a little bit, which I really appreciate her character. But Remy knows that Sengoku is weak. She knows that he tries really hard to look like a cool guy in front of her, and she kind of prides it a little bit along. Uh, I really love the way she deals in her relationship with him. Uh, and they're comedy. They are. There's not like a whole lot of episodes just based on the two of them. But I do look at that as another standard of her sometimes, being like, help me, I need help, Sengoku, and then he's coming around, swallow his fears, and like brushes the insect off her shoulder, which was a big deal for him. It was not a deal for her because she likes insects, but she's giving him a chance to prove himself because she understands that's something that he needs. Um, and I feel like that is so mature of her that I think a lot of adults, my big age and older, these people don't know how to do for each other, that we don't know how to be again in community to see where our person is trying to do the work to better themselves and like sometimes play out to give them a chance, give them a win. Again, if you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody, to be in a full relationship, like yes, maybe sometimes you'll find out something about somebody you don't like. I mean, you have to have your standards where you're like, okay, this thing is a non-starter for me, or you're involved in this thing, or you believe this thing, and there's no way to reconcile. That's okay. Stop it, break up, do what you need to do. That's not a relationship you have to be in. But I do think there's something to be said about, okay, as giving people space to show them who you are, who they are, and being able to be like, okay, now that I know that about you, I love you even more, or I'm learning new sides of you, and that makes me excited. I think people always have to have new sides to themselves because it keeps you interesting, right? I think in my friends, people I've been friends with since like elementary school, middle school, as we've grown up and we've gotten older, there's been so many new sides to them. Like I could be like, okay, none of my friends, I think the people I've stayed in contact with and been friends for a long time have been. I mean, their core of who they are has stayed the same, but they've been through so many different experiences in life and things, and life has changed them. Where I'm finding out new things, like, oh, you really like that? Oh, you're into this now? Okay, cool. Like it keeps our friendship really refreshed. I think I'm the same way where I am who I am at my core, but I keep doing new things. And they're like, oh, you're doing this thing. That, yep, it sounds like you, but it's interesting that you're having this experience. How does it change your viewpoint? How does it change the way you engage in the world? And I think you need to be able to do that. Don't be in a relationship with somebody where you couldn't change, you couldn't grow and be a better person and want to be a better person for that person as well as yourself. So I feel like I'm getting really long winded as I get to the end of this. But I think the crux of this is about being in a relationship, especially a romantic relationship. Don't put people on pedestals. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is going to be your perfect mate either. No matter how much you think, oh, this person is this, she's a Instagram baddie. He's this hottie at the gym. Oh my gosh, I love him. They're everything I ever want to be. He's a baller player, whatever. There is going to be some type of crack in that mold that you're going to have to deal with, and that's okay. And the second part is like you don't have to worry about being perfect with that person too. It is the sooner you are your real self, the sooner you shows your multitudes of yourself, the different pieces, layers, the sooner you can find someone who's going to accept you for all of that. And everyone deserves to be accepted for all of their pieces, even when it's not pretty. As they say in my favorite movie of 2025, K-pop, Demon Hunters. Why did I try to color up all the lights inside my head? I should have let the jagged edges meet the light instead. Like, take those jagged edges, let them meet the light. You'll find your people. You'll find your Remy. You'll find your, oh, I don't want you to hide yourselves. Don't hide yourselves, y'all. All right, I feel like this is getting long enough. Again, we'll be at BlerdCon. Whoop, 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 whoop. You got a first Sunday and the second Sunday, BlerdCon here in March. I will check you out on the next one. Okay, bye. The Blerd Church of Anime podcast is produced by Black Star, aka Lauren Tillman, written by Lauren Tillman, and hosted by Lauren Tillman. Music created by EL47.